Hey guys, Dr. Decks here. Welcome to snowy Tacoma, Washington. Yay! Snow is not our favorite thing to work in. It just seems to ice up and kind of make things difficult to work around. But today I want to talk to you a little bit about our favorite types of hidden fasteners that we use to construct a deck. So it just so happens we're starting to lay decking today. So I have a deck board I'm ready to install, and we're going to go ahead and go through a couple of different products that we use to lock down our deck. Note, there are many types of hidden fasteners on the market, okay? I acknowledge this and I also admit it. This is not a video about all the different types of hidden fasteners on the market. This is a video about my favorite ones, okay? So basically I'm gonna show you two different fasteners today, and you've probably seen them in a lot of our videos, but I don't think I've ever really discussed just those two and why I like them so much. So if you like this video, don't forget to click that subscribe button, hit that bell icon to be notified when we're putting out new content. The first one, it's almost a given and a must for the type of decks that we build. We build a lot of, basically every deck we build has a hidden fastener. So what I have here is a stainless steel screw made by a company called Fastenmaster. It's branded for TimberTech AZEK decking, and it's called a top lock screw. It's 2.5 inches, it's stainless steel. It's a T20 star drive. It's meant for exposed or a product called Cortex. So my number one favorite of all time of hidden fasteners that's made on Earth is Fastenmaster Cortex hidden plugging system. This screw is vital. So a lot of Cortex you purchase comes with a carbon screw. We just set those to the side. We like to use stainless steel screws in all of our construction as far as our decking goes when we're attaching decking to framing. So the Cortex screw basically comes in a kit. There's color matching plugs. They actually cut these plugs right out of the same material that is used as the decking. It comes with a special T20 bit with a little felt stopper that doesn't damage the decking, and then there's a hard plastic piece below that to keep the depth proper. So when you use this screw with this bit, you drive this down into the decking, and it goes in about a little more than 1/4 inch deep. So it leaves an exposed hole. Once you finish fastening that screw into the hole, it leaves an exposed area that you need to cover with the included corks that come with the system. Those hidden Cortex plugs basically disappear in this TimberTech AZEK vintage decking, and we'll show you how that works here in a minute. So I just wanted to describe to you what I'm doing and why. The reason I like this so much, this fastening method, is you can pull the corks, you can pull the screws, you can pull a board if you absolutely have to, and it disappears so good. When you're standing 5 feet up, 6 feet up, and look down, you really can't find the corks unless you're really looking for them. We've Cortexed entire AZEK decks, and we've also just Cortex perimeters. On this particular install that we're doing right now, we're just gonna Cortex the perimeter boards and the one side of the first groove board, and then we'll go to our next favorite hidden fastening system, which I'll tell you about in a few minutes. Let's go over this one and give you the full detail on it. Then we'll get into the next one, okay? I've got everything set up. I've got my drill, my impact driver, I've got my special Cortex bit, I've got my screw. So for this particular build, I need a 1/2 inch overhang because we're doing a special fascia detail. This is what's really cool about this fastener. You can just start it. You don't even have to pre-drill. There you go. Now you can see the hole it made right here. That screw is fully installed. And now we're gonna, once we fully install all the screws, we'll go back and we'll plug them with the Cortex plugging system, and then that board will be fully installed. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna go through and give myself this 1/2 inch overhang I'm looking for, and then we'll get back into finishing up this system, and then we'll get into the next one. I'm gonna go about every 4 or 5 joists, make sure I'm a 1/2 inch overhang, and go ahead and drop a screw. That's gonna lock this board in place. I just wanna make sure that I don't forget I have this 1/2 inch overhang, and I need to be over 3/4 plus a half. So I have to be over 1.25 inches to get into the center of this outside rim joist, and I'm 1.25 inches plus. So I could come over 1/16. There we go. Now I should be at 1.25 inches. Man, look at that. Okay, and now I'll go over here. And the reason I'm not just doing every joist as I go, usually there's a little bit of sway or wave in this stuff. So I'm just doing every so often to kind of average this board at a 1/2 inch overhang. About 1 1/4 inches. And now I'm just gonna go to this far end and I'm gonna go ahead and lock this thing down. And that should give me a fairly good average of a 1/2 inch. Now I've got this board set. I have it a 1/2 inch away. Looks pretty straight. I'm gonna go ahead and lock all these down, and then we'll get into the cork in a minute. This particular board I'm installing is a perimeter board. So it's a different color than the rest of the decking, and it's prominent, which means I'm gonna use it to the outside of the deck, whereas the rest of these boards are gonna be on the inside, so I can put another perimeter board on the outside. So I'm just leaving this board long. So basically, I'll cut it in later, okay? So it's just being roughed in, I suppose, would be a good term. Okay, so here we go. Now we're just gonna go through and go ahead and knock this out. If I was installing this board and you looked at it before we plug it, you'd be like, man, what's going on here? What's with the pepper, doctor? Once the plugs are in, you won't notice it. And this board will be very securely fastened, okay? So I'm just gonna keep going here. Okay, so now all the screws are installed on this deck board. All we have to do now is go back and Cortex them. All right, so basically now we have the board installed and it's time to start installing the Cortex plugs. These plugs used to come in a bag and they were very monotonous to pull one out, especially with gloves. To pull one out, put it in the hole, and hammer it in. I'll do one just to kind of show you what I'm getting at. So the one thing I love about the vintage mahogany or vintage AZEK, the vintage line, is the plugs match so well. We can actually showcase the grain, and I can actually put this plug and spin the grain so it matches the grain of the deck board. And then you get the plug in like that, and you install it, you hit it with a mallet, and it's installed. So that's all you see now that that's done. So what they've done lately is they've collated the plugs. They come on a strip now, which is really nice. So now as we gotta do, I just usually go down the plugs. Sometimes they're a little twisted, so I just make sure they're all nice and straight. Once I'm sure of that, this becomes very easy. You just line the plugs up to the hole, give it a light tap to get it to set, and then you can pound it in. So it's a lot quicker than doing the conventional loose plugs. Sometimes the guys will set a whole bunch at once, and then they'll go back and hammer them all in. It just kind of depends what you want to do with it. We'll basically go through and finish plugging that. And then there you go. That's your install on that board, and there's no face fastener showing. So pretty awesome. Okay, so now we have our next board that we're going to be installing. We're going to be moving from a face fastener and a plug system into a clip system, but the first side of the first board, since we don't have the ability to clip the first board in, we have to also Cortex that as well. And then from there, we'll be able to run hidden fasteners for the rest of this section of the deck. So that's what I'm setting up now. I have my first board already cut square. I'm gonna let it overhang 1 inch because that's the amount of space that I determined that I needed for that. Now that that's done, I just need to put a screw here. I don't really need to put a screw here, but I have to pin the ends of this first board in with a 3/16 inch gap. I have this board ready to go. I'll just load a few, and then I'll go ahead and install this, pin this board on this end with some face screws. So obviously we have the right color here for this Cortex, and we also have this color as well, which is Coastline. So dark hickory, Coastline. We also have matching Coastline plugs as well that we can use to plug this board as we go as well. All right, so now I have the back side of this board pinned with the Cortex screws. We can actually plug this and then go ahead and start adding our next favorite hidden fastener, which is called a Fastenmaster Fusion Lock 5-shot gun. And I'll explain that to you in a minute. I just gotta clean my feet so I can get up on the deck and show you how that works. So I don't know what I should say. All right, so my next favorite hidden fastener is the Fastenmaster 5-shot. Basically, it shoots a stainless steel clip. They're attached 5 at a time, and they load up into this gun like so. You just drop them in. There's an arrow indicating which way they go. and you can actually load 5 into the gun, and then you can have 5 more behind it. It comes with a set of SCrails. A SCrail is a screw nail, and we're almost out, so we'll have to load another one in a minute. But they go in like a nail, and then they back out like a screw. So those are loaded. There's like 300 in a roll, so you don't have to reload a whole bunch of times. You're just reloading clips every so often, like after every 5 shots. So basically, this deck is now grooved. These boards are grooved intentionally so that we can use this system. There's other hidden clip systems like I've mentioned before, but for this particular install, and I like using this gun. The reason I like using this gun is because it shoots it straight down in between the deck board cracks, so that if we ever need to pull a deck board, we can actually unscrew the SCrails and pull the deck board out and replace it, or whatever we have to get to it. I've actually had to do it a couple times so far, but not too often, but it's just a nice feature. I like the fact that they're stainless steel and it's really easy to use. I'm gonna show you guys right now. I'm gonna take the gun and I'm basically just gonna run these 5-shot fasteners all across this deck board, and then I'll show you how that works as far as putting the next deck board in, okay? So basically you're just taking this gun and you're taking this rail and you're setting it right down on top of the joist, and you're putting it right across that top of that 1.5 inches, and that puts you right in the middle of the joist, and then you push down and fire. We just ran 5, we'll load 5 more. And you can see if you have 2 guys with guns or 3 guys with guns, this can go really fast. All right, so those clips are all installed. I'm gonna go ahead and set my gun down, and then you just take your next deck board and run it over here. What we found is it's a little bit easier to install the board if you put it at an angle like this and then bring it in and just set it down. So now that this board is in, we're gonna go ahead and use some spacers just to make sure that we have a consistent space throughout this plank. Then we're gonna use some clamps to clamp it all down, and then we'll just run our next set of clips, and we'll just keep doing that over and over until we're done with the deck. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon to be notified when we're putting out new content. Thanks for coming to our channel. Don't forget to leave us a comment below and like this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.